Yes, this is our first social Sunday fan Q&A with Lomana Lua Lua, one of my personal heroes growing up, and it's actually a privilege to being able to have an insight of his journey in life and football. Lomana, first of all, I want to say welcome. This is this is big for me, and hopefully people listening wanting to hear about your journey. To start off with, just tell us about earlier on in your life sort of a thing, because you came over from Democratic Republic of Congo. So
Yes. Obviously, Lomana Trésor Lua Lua. A lot of people knows me, but most of the people knows me by Lomana Lua Lua. But some people, obviously, in Congo knows me by Trésor Lua Lua. So, I was born in Congo, Kinshasa. Left Congo when I was 9 years old, and obviously moved to England. But before coming to England, we had to pass by Nigeria to get to England. So I stayed a little bit in Nigeria, and then obviously, finally got to England. So so I'm also an English boy.
when you got to England, and obviously you had to go to school and all the stuff. How was the transition from what you knew into sort of oil?
It's actually, you're young, innit? So when you're young, you don't really think of it much. Obviously, as you get older, then you start to you learn a bit more of the reason why we had to move to England. But when you're young, you don't really think of it. You're just excited, and father taking you somewhere, you're going somewhere, so you don't really have much to too much question to ask. I'm gonna go to my dad and say, "Why are you taking me? Why are you taking me?" So you was young, so you don't really know the reason why at that age. So you go to where the family are going, and then you just try. When you're young anyway, you're gonna adapt somehow to the environments, because you don't really have the brain to start thinking, okay, how these people will be thinking and all that now.
So you've moved to Forest Gate in East London. Tell me how
Yes.
life was in Forest Gate in East London like that.
E7. E7. It was great time. I met great people. Obviously, back then when I came to England, that's when the Congolese community, we really used to be together. You kind of knew whose kid is there, you knew whose parents is there. So, like for me, I wasn't raised just by my parents or my uncle, auntie. I was raised by those other Congolese uncles and all that, because their advice as well. So, when a child is inside the mom's stomach, it's the mom's child, But when it comes out, it's everybody, because you seem to get all this different type of advice. So I was happy enough to grow up in an era where, as Congolese, we was really, really tight. So I couldn't go to somewhere and doing something wrong without an uncle having a go at me or telling me off. So, I'm happy in a way. I don't regret. I'm happy that I grew up in that type of environment, in that generation where, those leaders, that I had people that actually looking after me to make sure that I don't step out of line.
Lomana, those that don't know, you used to be a gymnast, and talk me through having to choose whether you wanted to be a gymnast or a footballer.
Do you know what? My dad was a footballer in Congo, and what really made me not like football, because I never liked football. My dad, obviously, after winning a game, they used to go out with their friends, and he would come back home drunk. So he would start causing trouble. Don't get me wrong, it's not like that's my dad. I love my dad, obviously, rest in peace. I love my dad to bits. That don't change nothing what I'm saying, but it was just part of a learning thing for me, and also was for my dad to learn certain things in life. So my dad used to come back drunk, and then he'll start causing trouble and just starting on mom. So basically I saw all that, so I saw all that, and that made me not like football, because for me it was like, okay, the reason why dad is like that is because of football. So if he didn't play football, he will not be going out and mixing with his friends, and he will not be drunk. And so that was one thing from that. I learned that because of the football, that's why my dad's like this. So I didn't like football. And another thing, it was like, obviously, it was like, okay, my dad being horrible, I'll never be like that to a woman, So, and I made a promise to my mom then that I'll never take alcohol, I'll never drink alcohol, and I'll never, mistreat a lady and things like that. So yeah, so it's part of my learning things. From that, I learned not to like football. I hated football. I hated alcohol. So yeah. So it was that I didn't like football. So I built my love was in gymnastics. So obviously here in Congo, there was kids that go to school in the morning from 6:30 in the morning to 1ish. And then certain people go in from 2 to 5. So all my friends was afternoon. So I was the one in the morning. And like I was saying, in England, there's certain things that we cannot have. In Africa, you can. I had those. Obviously, my dad bought me them little chimpanzee, them little monkey, like Tarzan monkey. So I had one, and that was like my pet. That was like my best friend. So every time I used to go to play with him, and he'll be doing a backflip.
Oh.
So
yeah.
I was copying more. And knowing those those little chimpanzees, they're very clever. So they kind of knew that I was coming in. I was learning what they was doing. So he became like a habit. So that's when I built my love for gymnastics. So I started going in and doing gymnastics on obviously on the sand. It's not like we have in England, like a mat, a bouncing mat where you can do obviously backflip and not hurt yourself. But our one was just the sand, just pure. And they had them big truck wheels. Them big truck wheels, they'll dig it. Like they'll make a hole and dig it in an angle that you only see a little bit of it. So you'll be like that. So the other thing is like stuck that is underground. So you just see the top bit, so you can run and bounce on it. Yeah, and then obviously, that's where it was very dangerous, because few times I had to I broke my hands, and few times, because I remember even trying to do, like if you bounce, you're trying to do 2 in the air. I remember one time I landed on my neck, so I was like, for a long time I was like, with this neck. But it was it's part of it. But I loved gymnastics. It was entertaining, it was entertaining just to see what people can do just on the mat. I always used to call myself like a little ninja, because really and truly, I really wanted to be a stuntman. I wanted to do stunt, and that was part of the reason as well. So I started learning in gymnastics, and then I started learning martial arts and all these different things. Like that's what kind of helped me with my balance.
Okay, well. This I want to know is, talk to me about Lua Lua, the name Lua Lua. Where did it come from?
I'll tell you a funny story, yeah? When I was in school, because I grew up with people call him, obviously, Daniel. I know him as Dan, and Daniel Futsi. People know him by the name of Futsi. Rest in peace. His dad just passed away. I saw that. So Futsi. I grew up obviously in Nakana, when you talk about D-Double, we all grew up together and all that. So like I said, I never used to, in school they knew me by the name of, people call me Lomana. I wasn't really using Lua Lua. So it was Lomana, people knew me. So, and they knew that obviously my first football game I ever went to watch was Joe Cole. West Ham, because everybody used to compare my skills to him. Remember, because even Footy was a baller, you know. Footy used to play football. Very good player, and he was playing for Charlton and England. And obviously, a cousin of mine, Kandol Trésor, was playing for
Luton, I think, wasn't it?
Luton. So, but we used to all play in a district team. In that district team, they had the likes of Kemi Ized. There was, I remember Jermaine Defoe. But I was the only one that never played for any club. I just used to turn up and play. So when I was in school, people knew me by the name of Lomana. So when I went to, people was comparing my skill to Joko. So I went to see if that hype, you know, people were saying he's skillful, to see if he was really, but he was really skillful. But I always says that he's technically good, but he's not on my. That's why that was me. That's my opinion. That's why I was like, nah, he can't be on my. And especially I had one of my best friend, Michael. They used to say to me, you know what, Lomana, yeah, you're going to make him, and all them players ain't got nothing on you. You know, I used to play with the likes of Tox, all them like, and so he feed me into this guy, and not on my level. So when I moved to Colchester, because back then they used to protect players. So I remember my granddad always says that I was special. I'm going to make the family proud, but I never understood what he meant by that. Because my granddad's name is Lua Lua. You know, so my family name is actually Lomana. So, because I had that middle name, it was like Trésor Lua Lua Lomana. So, when I end up getting that opportunity to go to culture, so I said, you know what, I'm not going to put the name Lomana, I'm going to put the name Lua Lua. And that's why, so every time I was going back to East, and all my friends would be asking me, oh, rah, tell me, because, you know, obviously when you do work, back then they used to protect players, so they'll write about a player's name, but they'll never put a picture of you. So all my friends would be like, oh, tell me about Lua Lua, man. They said this boy is the next big thing. You know, good player. They said he's very talented. And I'll be like, I am Lua. They was like, nah, come on. We know you're good, bro. But who's it? But it took a long time. It's only until obviously Newcastle and them. Well, I was looking around, and then they end up putting my picture. And then people, my friends like, oh, so you're Lua. How come you're Lua? What happened to Lomana? I say, yeah, but that's my name. I just used it. So it was crazy. So Lua Lua was given to me. It's a name. It was my granddad's name. He gave me that. He somehow, I don't know, them old people, they see different things. So he always thought I'll be special. I had that special talent. So for me, it was a privilege. Like, obviously, my dad used to tell me what my granddad was saying about me. And yeah, so I just wanted to put that name there and to just be different, you know. So yeah, so that's where the name came by. It's my granddad's name, so I wanted to make him proud if he was alive. But obviously, unfortunately, he never got to see his grandson obviously progress and take it to another level.
Regarding Colchester, before we get to Colchester, you actually went to college program.
Yes.
Is that right in saying?
Yes.
Talk me through going to college program, how that felt, and how the move to Colchester came apart.
Like I say to you, listen, I'll never, okay, it's obviously God wills, it's God's plan, you know, what we want ain't always how God's plan to be, you know. God's always had a different plan for us, and no matter what, we will always end up doing what the plan that God had for us. So, like I said, I didn't like football. The only reason I played football was to impress a lady. If it wasn't because of a lady, you know, I remember I had a crush on one of my school friends, one of my very good, it was my best friend at that time. Obviously, we all gone different ways. Her name was Ifat. And yeah, so I wanted to impress her. So one time it happened in, obviously, on school break and all that. And some reason everybody was in school. Nobody really went out in the play. So we all was in the playground. So, and I kind of knew I know how to play a little bit. Because obviously I was my dad's ball boy, so I knew I can play. And I saw some of them, I was like, nah, I knew I can do better than the other people. So, and to impress that girl, I knew my skills will impress her. So that's how I ended up playing football. But not knowing, obviously, they was looking to build a school team. So, you know, God obviously sent Mr. Hat, my school teacher, you know, bless his heart. I've been trying to look for him for a while because I haven't talking to him for a while because he's always been, I always inviting him in my career because he was the first person to buy me a football boot. He was the one that believed in me. He's the one that with my best friend Michael put in my head that I'll make it to the bigger stage. So, you know, if it wasn't him, I'll probably not be playing football now. So, yeah, so it was that. And from school, obviously, he contacted a person in the college that I was going to. So he told him that, you know, Lomana likes gymnastics, but don't push him into football. Just push him into football. Again, in college, it happened because I didn't want football. It happened, there was girls in that time in the playground. So it was just my way to show, to try to be the man again. So, so, and obviously I was lucky enough because I only used to play when I want. When I don't want to play, I didn't want to play. You know, yeah, I remember we had a game. Obviously, it was college. I was going college. It was education for me because I was doing performing arts. I wanted to be an actor or like into music and things like that. Like I said, I wanted to do stunts. I really wanted to get into stunt and doing stunts and things. So I was doing media studies, and I was also trying to do like performing arts and things like that. So, but from that school, we somehow got into semi-final, if I'm not mistaken, and it was against a team in Colchester, and obviously the scout was a Colchester scout. So I remember because certain games, the coaches will look at me and say, yeah, I don't think you're up for it. You don't look up for it, so we keep you on the bench. It's only when we start losing, I was like, okay, put me in. You know, so I remember that game. I took a ball and then I went past everyone and scored, and then the scouts, like, because it was a referee, goes, oh, that's lucky, you can't do that again. I said, oh yeah, I took the ball again, I done it, and he was like, oh, you know, you need to come, I'll take you places. I was like, yeah, whatever. Because before then, our school teacher took me to West Ham, I went to Luton, and I went to Leyton Orient, and they always play me with little kids. When you're going there, because I never wanted to play football with people my age, because I just feel like they're not on my level. That's the mentality I have. Like, why you playing me with people my age? You know, I can play better. I can play with big men. I'm strong, and then it was too easy for me. So when I went there, they put me with people, so I didn't really want to play. So I wasn't showing my best. So they say, no, go. You know, so when the scouts asked me to come, I was like, oh, hold on, I went to these clubs, I never got in. So what made you think like I'll come to your place? And then it was like, no, you got to trust me. So we end up, because he's a two leg. So we played at home, then we played away, and we played away. I did the same thing again. It was like, no. So he keep phoning the college teacher. So the college teacher passed him on to my school teacher. So them two together, they start calling my house. It was like my dad actually kicked me out because this guy was calling them all the time. Yeah, your son's gonna be this. You got to send. And you know how parents, you know, African parents, school. So at one time, because they got fed up, and I remember I got myself into trouble. And then my dad was like, oh, take him. So I end up going to Colchester, but so that's when my things really changed for me. But it wasn't easy. So I was like, I've never been taught football. I've never had enough time in the youth system. It was only a short time. So I learned football the hard way. I was lucky enough to have certain people, even Jeff, the scout, he played a big part in my life because he took me in his house. He took me like his own son. So he started teaching me certain things. So he made sure I stayed with him so I can learn. So I had a short time to turn me into a pro. But obviously when we was in Colchester, that youth schemes that we do helped us because back then it was like for discipline. because we have to clean boots, we have to clean the changing when the first team plays. When the first team plays, you had your players. You know, the best thing about it was at Christmas this time, because you know they'll give you money,
yeah.
give you whatever. Yeah. So, but I think it was the best thing. I think that's what kept us grounded. Yeah. I think, you know, especially for discipline, you have to, you learn to respect. You know, the best thing, like obviously the youth team coach was Mickey Cook. God bless him, a very top man. He tried everything to help me as well. But the best thing he ever did for us youngsters, he took us to a factory. So for us, like, we had to start at 7 and finish at 7. You know, just packing things. Like, bro, it was crazy. So he made us realize, listen, this is the real world. But in football, you know, you're very lucky to have what you have. So you kind of, it's like it gave you an option, like a choice. Okay, do you want to live in this world? This is the world that you're living in, or that, you know. So you have a choice. So I think for me then it was the best thing. Remember, you're talking to a boy that came from Africa as a refugee, because I'm a refugee. Because you know a lot of people always say refugees does this and that, this. No. You know, there's certain refugees, we don't come, or I'm sure our parents don't come to a different country or bring us there just to do bad things. No. I don't think nobody goes somewhere to try and, well, in this world, there's crazy people also in this type of world.
For me personally, growing up, I know that in majority of the Congolese households, if like you was a naughty kid, every parent used to say to us, if you don't back up your ideas, you're never going to be like Lua Lua. And because obviously you was the first sort of Congolese athlete to come out of East London. For us, it was big. You was like an ambassador for us at that moment of time when you went into Colchester. How did you feel? Did you feel that pressure? Did you feel it or did you not feel it?
Bro, I'm actually, you know, I'm happy to hear that. You know, obviously growing up in East London, you know, obviously I can't go into details, but you know, most of my friends was doing most illegal things. You know, so and for me it was like I wanted to be that an example. I wanted to be that person that can break that chain, like to show him that if I can do it, you can do it. You know, to show him that you can actually live your life legally than doing whatever they was doing. You know, so I'm not blaming my friends. I think it was just part of an experience for us. You know, sometimes life wasn't meant to be all good, or like perfect. You know, sometimes even a tree, when the tree is growing, there's different branches until they actually straighten up. So, you know, and I'm just happy, as you said that, I'm happy to hear that. It shows me that I did something right, and the dream that I had, like you just said it now, that's why I wanted to be that an example, especially as a Congolese. You know, there was no Congolese guy doing it in football. You know, so I wanted to be that first person to break that chain and to be someone that they can look at to motivate and inspiration for, especially for us Congolese people. So I'm happy to hear that. I'm really happy to. Yes, it was part of my dream to be an example that a younger Congolese person that can look up to and say, yes, if Trésor can do that, I can do that.
I mean, when you was in Colchester, I don't think at that point the league actually was ready for you to come into the sort of men's team, because you was strong, quick, skillful. You scored like 21 goals in 68 games. Like, that's unbelievable at that age.
Once again, bro, I never played football for goals. That's what people don't understand. I grew up as an African person. it wasn't about goals. It was about entertainment. It was about skills and making someone look stupid. And that's what I want. That's my happiness. It wasn't goals. Yeah, goals is just another way for me to keep up my gymnastics, because obviously as you play football, you sign a contract, you can't do other sports. So that was just a way for me, okay, to keep up. For me, it was just, okay, give me the ball. I'll make you look stupid. Give me the ball. Entertain. I wanted to entertain people. I always say to people, I wanted, even when I came on, like, even when as a substitute, if I come on 5 minutes, that 5 minutes, I had to make sure that someone, like, go home and say, oh, remember what Lua did? He did that mad. That's what I want. I wanted people to really remember. Like, I just, because it's a dream that I had to be an example. And I was competing and against so many Nigerians, Ghanaians, you know, South Africans. So there was all these different people that I'm the only Congolese, so I have to make my mark. I have to make sure they respect me. I wasn't meant to was meant to be like that. So I think if all that went into my head, I'll probably be, you know, a show off. I'll probably be one of those. So I learned to separate from young age. I think I was taught this. And if you see, when I was in Colchester, there was one guy, Jason Dozel used to like really. I was his book boy, so he really used to school me and Soji, you know. So I learned to separate Lua Lua from Lomana. So I learned when I'm in my house, I was me, so I never took the Lua in the house, you know. So it stayed outside. So, and I think that's what keeps him grounded. So it wasn't okay. I scored all these goals because I thought, like I'm telling you, that goals didn't mean nothing to me. That's why my partnership with Yakubu in Portsmouth was so good, because Yak was a goal scorer. I never was a goal scorer. I never was a number 9. I was a number 10 or a winger. So I didn't have that mentality of like in my head, I need to score goals. If I score goals, yeah. But it was like assist, entertain people. That was my mentality. So, but it was amazing when you look at it now and I say, wow, for someone who never wasn't taught football to go into that league, and especially never even played amateurs or things, to go in there to do what I did. And yes, I look at it now, and obviously I have some friends in football when they say, bro, you know, you was a baller. I say, yeah, right. But I thank God for that. I thank God that for the blessing that He gave me, for the gift that He gave me.
How did that the Newcastle move?
I'll tell you about Newcastle move. We was in in Colchester. We was fighting for relegation. We were fighting to stay up, and a new coach came in, Mickey Wadsworth. So when he came in, he didn't play me. So I was vexed. This guy just came in and suddenly he's changing the team and being young. So I'm just one of them scapegoats. So he using me, just why take me out? There was different people there, but why me? So I was vexed. And one day he decided to start me. And I think it was Southend or I'm not too sure who played. But we was losing. We was losing 2-0, I think. And then but I wasn't playing good because I was mad. Like, this guy is trying to use me, and then like he didn't play me other games, and then now decide like to play me. So I just feel like this guy was disrespecting me. So I wasn't giving it all. So came in half time. Now everybody was inside. So he turned around to me and said, he said to everyone, out, and then you stay. Come on, man, I'm from East London, bro. So I had my guards up, ready to fight. So then, bro, he took me under, he sat me down, arms around me, and just said to me, like, listen, you're like my son. You know, I love you. I know your skills and things like that. Listen, I know what you can do. I know you can win us games. Win me this game. And so help me stay up in this league. Can you hear me?
Yeah.
yeah, so he's like, help me stay up in this league. And I'm going somewhere. I'm going to a big club. And wherever I go, I'll come back and take you. So I was like, yeah, right. You're just saying this for the sake. He says, trust me. And then he showed me a few clips. I saw some of the videos with Alan Shearer when he was training, like England under 20s, and he was out a few times. So I was like, oh, okay. And then I think after we went out, we won that game. So, and then we went to strength to strength. So he started playing me all the time. And then he left, but we stayed up. And then obviously I started hearing like Sir Bobby was coming to watch my games and things like that. So he kept his promise basically. And I was actually bought to go Tottenham because I'm a Tottenham supporter. I love Tottenham because East London, all my friends was Hammers. So it's either your West Ham supporters or Tottenham. Or the Orient. The Orient obviously was a small team. So, but I used to love players. The Rue Fox who play for Tottenham, Ginola, Klinsmann. All these people was exciting too. So I used to love Tottenham. I just wanted to be different to my friends. So it was for me it was just a banter. Like, we can't all just be hammers, you know what I mean? Even though I used to love some of the West Ham players, like Bishop was one of my favorite players, So I was actually on my way to Tottenham. Tottenham actually came in for me, but then sadly I called him and I said to him, listen, you promised me like this, and then he says, what's happening? I said, well, now I'm gonna sign for Tottenham. He said, no, you're not. And the next means I know that I was on my way to Newcastle. So he kept his promise. That's why in life, I say you always 50-50, give 50, you get 50, So, and I learned that from Harry Redknapp, yes.
Yeah, Lomana, like I said, you've scored 21 goals in 68 games for Coaches on fire. Talk me through that period of time when you score them goals and into your next move.
Even more, the coaches that really protected me. So, bro, nothing. I never used to be phased. I wasn't phased. I wasn't. In my mind, it was just like I said. One thing in my mind, it wasn't money. It was just my motivation was I need to do this for my friends to see. So all them goals at that time, I never really thought, even some of the goals and like you said, some of the things I did, that never clocked into that never actually was like, oh yeah, I did it. Never. I never thought of it like that. So this is what I say. I think certain things wasn't meant to was meant to be like that. So I think if all that went into my head, I'll probably be, a show off. I'll probably be one of those. So I learned to separate from young age. I think I was taught this. And when I was in Colchester, there was one guy, Jason Dozell used to I was his book boy. So he really used to school me and Soji, so I learned to separate Lua Lua from Lomana. So I learned when I'm in my house, I was me. So I never took the Lua in the house, so it stayed outside. So, and I think that's what keeps me grounded. So it wasn't, okay, I scored all these goals because I thought, like I'm telling you, that goals didn't mean nothing to me. That's why my partnership with Yakubu in Portsmouth was so good, because Yak was a goal scorer. I never was a goal scorer. I never was a number 9. I was a number 10 or a winger. So I didn't have that mentality of in my head, I need to score goals. If I score goals, yeah. But it was like assist, entertain people. That was my mentality. So, but it was amazing when you look at it now and I say, wow, for someone who never wasn't taught football to go into that league, and especially never even played amateurs or things, to go in there to do what I did. And yes, I look at it now, and obviously I have some friends in football when they say, bro, you was a baller. I say, yeah, right. But I thank God for that. I thank God that for the blessing that he gave me, for the gift that he gave me.
How did that the Newcastle move?
I'll tell you about Newcastle move. We was in in Colchester. We was fighting for relegation. We were fighting to stay up, and a new coach came in, Mickey Wadsworth. So when he came in, he didn't play me. So I was vexed. This guy just came in and suddenly changing the team and being young. So I'm just one of them scapegoats. So he using me, just why take me out? There was different people there, but why me? So I was vexed. And one day he decided to start me. And I think it was Southend or some, I'm not too sure who played. But we was losing. We was losing 2-0, I think. And then but I wasn't playing good because I was mad. Like, this guy is trying to use me, and then like he didn't play me other games, and then now decide like to play me. So I just feel like this guy was disrespecting me. So I wasn't giving it all. So came in halftime. Now everybody was inside. So he turned around to me and said, he said to everyone, out, and then you stay. Come on, man, I'm from East London, bro. So I had my guards up, ready to fight. So then, bro, he took me under, he sat me down, arms around me, and just said to me, like, listen, you're like my son. You know, I love you. I know your skills and things like that. Listen, I know what you can do. I know you can win us games. Win me this game. So help me stay up in this league. Can you hear me?
Yeah.
Yeah, so he's like, help me stay up in this league. And I'm going somewhere. I'm going to a big club. And wherever I go, I'll come back and take you. So I was like, yeah, right. You're just saying this for the sake. He says, trust me. And then he showed me a few clips. I saw some of the videos with Alan Shearer when he was training, like England under-20s, and he was out a few times. So I was like, oh, okay. And then I think after we went out, we won that game. So, and then we went to strength to strength. So he started playing me all the time. And then he left, but we stayed up. And then obviously I started hearing like Sir Bobby was coming to watch my games and things like that. So he kept his promise basically. And I was actually bought to go Tottenham because I'm a Tottenham supporter. I love Tottenham because East London, all my friends was Hammers. So it's either your West Ham supporters or Tottenham or the Orient. The Orient obviously was a small team. So, but I used to love flair players, the Rue Fox who play for Tottenham, Ginola, you know, Klinsmann. All these people was exciting to. So I used to love Tottenham. I just wanted to be different to my friends. So it was for me it was just a banter like. Yeah, we can't all just be hammers, you know what I mean? Even though I used to love some of the West Ham players, like Bishop was one of my favorite players, you know. So I was actually on my way to Tottenham. Tottenham actually came in for me, but then sadly I called him and I said to him, listen, you promised me like this, and then he says, what's happening? I said, well, now I'm gonna sign for Tottenham. He said, no, you're not. And the next means I know that I was on my way to Newcastle. So he kept his promise. That's why in life, I say you always 50-50, you know. Give 50, you get 50, you know. So, and I learned that from Harry Redknapp, yes.
Yeah, I mean, the level that you was at with the likes of Alan Shearer, David Ginola, Laurent Robert, Nobby Solano, I mean...
Kieran Dyer, you cannot not mention those
training
people.
And everything.
Kieran Dyer, Craig Bellamy. Come on, man. Respect to these people, bro. Jermaine Jennings. Wow, there's so many people there. There's so many.
Talk me through that environment, like in comparison to obviously in Colchester, no disrespect, but that's a different level.
Yeah, you have to, the person that took me under his wings, like took us under his wings, was like Kieran Dyer for the youngsters. Me, Amiobi, Jermaine Jennings, Kieran Dyer was just someone that obviously knowing Ireland, because obviously I was the club captain, but our captain, players captain was Gary Speed, Rest in peace, Gary Speed. Gary Speed was second to none. He was amazing. Obviously, with Sir Bobby, if I start speaking about him, I get very emotional. So he's on another level. But Gary Speed was it was players captain. He was really had time for players. I'm not saying that Al didn't, but I'm just saying. But Gary Speed had so many time for us. So it was just a different level, man. It's another level. It was just from the car park. You understand that he was on another level from the training ground, the pitch. It was amazing.
I mean,
It was really amazing.
That was great for you to have the best education under Sir Bobby Robson.
Yes. He was more of a father figure than a coach. So he was trying to do something that Sir Alex Ferguson that did with the likes of Paul Scholes, Becks, Giggsy, so he made those generations. So that's why he mixed us the old and youngsters, but he was preparing us for 2-3 years time, for us to get to know each other's game. But obviously when Rooney came about, nobody wanted to be on the bench. I hated it. I remember a few times I used to go to Sir Bobby and say to him, "Listen, why you bring me here?" I was happy in coaches that I was living my life. I didn't complain about nothing. So you bring me here to sit me down on a bench. You play me few games you don't play. But he was schooling me because I never was taught football. So I came in. Now, this is a guy who gave me 3 videos of phenomenal Ronaldo, Maradona, and Pele. He wanted me to study them. So so this guy really schooled me, was teaching me football. So it's only when I went on loan in Portsmouth, when I went to Portsmouth, then I realized, oh, this is what he was trying to do.
That's every kid's dream. But you lived it. Champions League, hearing the music, seeing them people waving that imaginary ball in a semicircle. How was that? Was it goosebumps? How was that?
Bro. Well, when I was in Newcastle, it didn't sink in. For me, it was just a normal competition. But it's only when I went to Olympiacos then I realized it's the song. The beginning when they say that's when I realized. But Newcastle, I didn't understand. For me, it was like, oh, that's just just same as anything else,
So with you progressing in sort of like in Newcastle, that's a big stage. So then that sort of gave you the sort of like worldwide sort of like everyone knew who Lua Lua was. So back home, you had that decision to make whether you're going to play for England, France, or Congo, but you chose Congo. So what came about with that decision?
Congo. Why I chose Congo?
Lomana, we're going to do that bit again. We're going to do that bit again because your camera froze. Can you hear me?
Can you see? Yeah.
Okay, yeah, go on.
Yeah, what did you say? Sorry.
Let's do that question again. So at that time period, you was really at a high level in Newcastle, but then Lua Lua as a brand was worldwide known, and especially in your native Congo, and you had the opportunity to play for England, France, or Congo as a national team, but you chose Congo. How did that come about?
Well, I always saw myself moving back home. I always I always knew that I have an assignment back home especially when I finish football. You know, so it was only right for me to go and represent my country, because I obviously don't not to be bad, or not people not to take it the wrong way. England gave me that platform. England's like a second home for me. It's like I was adopted. I'm an adopted child. Like, you know, England adopted me. But my real me blood is Congo. Is back. You know what I mean? I'm African, so I wanted to go. I wanted to represent my country. Don't forget, from the beginning I told you that I had a dream to make it high as high as possible, to play as high as possible, to give those people an opportunity, to give them a dream, for them to see, to be an example, for them to see that someone from Norway, a refugee from Norway, that made it. And making it wasn't just playing. You know, in football, the only thing probably I didn't have that luck, is to have that medal of the World Cup. You know, and for the rest, I played in every competition that a player that wants to play. So, you know, I just and playing for Congo, it was like, okay, I need to give those local players a dream. They can actually do it. So my dream started just for the people that I was around in East London, in London. But then it became big. It became not just people in London, but everyone, especially for people in Congo. So it was only right for me to come and represent my country, to sell them dreams, that, you know, and to give them those opportunity to bring in something different from them, like professional life, professional football. So, and that's why when we was called up, I think me and Amiobi for England, I was called up for England when Ericsson was there. And that's why I said, no, I've got to go back home.
I mean, like,
that's my
me personally.
I said that's where my heart's always been in Congo, and that's why I'm here as we're speaking. I'm in Congo because part of my dream also, why not, to be part of the federation of Congolese, to bring football level to another level, to a professional level.
For me personally, as a youngster in QPR, choosing a nation, Congo was never really an option until you sort of went over to Congo and sort of like made them established and things like that, because I think it was only Shabani Nonda who was playing outside Congo at the time period that you was playing in Congo. So you really... There was
me, there was Shabani, there was also one, Jason Mayele, he was playing in Italy. There was like three of us.
But from East London, from London, so from
London, UK, it was only me, and it was only me, yes.
For the UK,
don't forget, before me, there was one guy, one big bro, Michel Ngonge. He was playing for Watford.
Okay.
But he never took it to another level, like obviously, like to represent Congo like I did. Because obviously I studied him. I saw a little bit of what he did because I had to find, but they wasn't talking about him. Like, no, I don't think many people even know that, because into people's head now, they'll probably always say that Trésor Lua was the first Congolese. No, there was another guy, but he wasn't from London. He was from outside London, but he didn't make a big impact like I did. So I studied him and I said, okay, I'm going to take it to another level. And that's why people always say, oh, the first Congolese, because obviously God bless me and I took it. But I studied him and I said, nah, he's not doing what he's supposed to be doing. He's not bringing no image of Congolese people. So,
I mean, on that subject, I want to highlight what you've done regarding charities and the whole foundation in Congo is unbelievable. Like literally, like how did you? Is it something that you wanted to do, or is it something that when you went to Congo, you thought, you know what, I need to do something here?
It's a mix of both. It's something that I always have that connection, especially with fans. Every team that I played for, I always have a connection with the fans, but I always was the type of, even from school before football, I always look out for people. So I always wanted to give back. So it's amazing when I was in Newcastle, even in Colchester, I was doing a lot of community work. So it was always easier for me. Certain times you meet certain people, especially when I went to Newcastle. That's when I realized, wow, we're actually blessed. And, it was like asking myself question always, like, do we have this? How can we have so much power and influence on people? I remember there was one boy that had cancer, had 3 weeks to live, but I was one of his favorite players. So I went, they were sending me letters all the time for me. He wanted to, I think his last wish was to meet me, so they were sending me letters for a long time. So I wasn't really going because obviously I was going through hard time at times when the manager wasn't playing me. So I was upset. So I didn't really look at my post and things. So when I did, I saw a letter that they've been sending me letters for a long time. But anyway, I went to visit the boy, and the boy had 3 weeks to leave. But when I went there, it went on for about 2 months until I moved to Portsmouth. And then obviously the boy passed away. And so from then I realized, then we actually have something that we should give back. I was a boy also used to support Tottenham. I remember when I used to go in Tottenham training ground waiting for people to sign autograph, and Saul Campbell used to just drive past. He never stopped because he was one of our favorites. And from then on also made me realize, always should have time for people. And that's what made me, okay, sometimes I buy things that I don't really need. Sometimes I spend money on things it's not even worth it, but that money can go on toward helping someone and better that person, or and just trying to help. So that's when I started the foundation. So when I started, I was visiting hospital, going to elders people's home, supply things for them, beds, food, going to school, giving like tours, what they need. But one thing I did realize when I was going to certain orphanage, which I was calling them like hotels, you have like a kid that will sleep but wake up in the morning and just go and do the same thing outside, just steal and do whatever and just come back and sleep. But there was no schooling them, no education and telling them to stop. We have one problem in our country, it's mentality. People live in other people's pocket. So instead of them actually working, not everyone, but majority of them. So instead of them working, it's like, okay, I meet this person. When I see this person, I'll do my program on his pocket. No, you can actually go and work. So this is what I'm doing now. It's been a while that this project I bought a land, I secured a place just to make sure nobody comes in and steal or do something. So we put the wall around it. The design already and markets, the design what we want in there. So so we're looking to build an orphanage. We also asking people with good hearts who always want to help and with that helping hands, we're looking for sponsors and people to donate, because with everything I did in football accomplished, building this orphanage, it will be on top of what I did in football. Giving them a platform, but it's not just a sleeping place. Like I said, it will generate itself. It will be a mix of boys and girls and kids. So, we're not going to wait for someone to come in and give us something. Once it's built, so we're going to start generating, like the girls, they'll be learning how to sew. So whatever they're sewing, they'll go out and sell it, so money will come back to feed. So the boys, they'll be going over the boys will be going to farming, like, you know, obviously doing farming and bringing food, and then we're selling things to generate, you know, and at the same time there'll be education. We'll partner ourselves with certain school, you know, also there'll be people coming in like to teaching them, you know, so by the time they'll leave that place, they'll be ready to face the world. So they'll be ready to have a place. They'll be ready to work hard, you know. And so we're teaching, we're raising kings and queens. So when they go out, they're ready to fight, to face the world, not just they sleep and then go outside and steal and then come back. No, it will be a learning things for all of them and all of us in there. So, like you said, we'll be raising kings and queens. So there will be also babies. There's also babies' place, because there's also babies they're being abandoned on the street. So we want to take that and give them that platform and show them love, because that's what the orphanage will be called. It will be called Love and One Love.
Well, you know what? That's fantastic, and I hope that's really successful. Just on a side note, regarding like you said something about you used to give people time. For myself, when I was like a young scholar at QPR, you know, I used to call you and text you a lot. The fact that you just replied to me, I used to think, wow, like unbelievable. You didn't need to, because you had the whole nation calling you and asking for advice and asking you for various things. For you to reply to me, I was just over the moon. And when you invited me to your house in Portsmouth, it was just like, wow, I can't believe this guy's doing this. He should have to do this. It's like we wasn't like sort of like blood, but you've embraced me, and for me, I will always have your back sort of thing, because you've given me that time sort of thing, and I think that was massive for me.
Appreciate that.
Leading on to that, I'm gonna go on to Portsmouth. A lot of things are starting to make sense to me now when you talk about Portsmouth, because Portsmouth, I think that's when you blossomed, and in particular, now you've told me that you used to be a Tottenham supporter. When it was like 2 games a season, when you played against Arsenal, Lomana, I swear down, you're a big brother to me, but I didn't like you them days. Yeah, when you Arsenal, yeah, because you was turning up.
What?
You was turning up. Why? You was turning up. Why? My team.
But you got the answer. I'm a Tottenham supporter. I was a Tottenham supporter,
It
and
makes
then
sense
plus
now. Because
I
I
was,
used to think that.
but don't get me wrong. When I talk about, I said East London. You know, there was obviously clubs like Arsenal. And Arsenal is always like, especially for black people in a way, no disrespected. Arsenal was a black team in a way. You know, a lot of black support, especially with the Ian Wright being there, because who didn't love Ian Wright? What a legend. You know, so, you know, you had all these different Patrick Vieira. So Arsenal was always, and for me especially when I was in Portsmouth, I told you, with Sol Campbell, like walking, driving past and not signing an autograph. That's when in my head it was like, okay, you wait. When I make it, I'm gonna destroy you when I play. So it was like, I remember when we used to play, I used to say to Yak, bully Sol. Just fight, like physically bully, and then I'll take the ball. But obviously, so we became very good friends when he came to Portsmouth. Legend, another legend, too much respect for him. So he was like that, you know. Yeah, so for me, it was like, okay, Arsenal, everybody was, you know, but you always want to play against the best, and Arsenal were the best.
Yeah,
you
but
know,
I mean, when you was playing, the stuff that you was doing, I remember you against Man United, you was making like Giggs, like you sort of cut the ball and Giggs kept sliding. I'm thinking that's Ryan Giggs. The Premier League, it was like I think the only time at that time it was just 2 people doing that. It's you and JJ Okocha. We're doing like playground stuff in the Premier League.
I'm a student of all that, JJ Kanu, and like obviously the Yoboa. So for me, like don't forget that not just I was I was also an ambassador for Congo. So, you know, Africa itself. So, and Man U, Arsenal, they were big teams, and you always wanted to compete with the best. You always wanted to see, you know, what level you are, you know. So those teams is like playing with those players can only bring the best out of you. So it's like either you raise your game or you go down. So I was determined. I had an ambition for people to recognize me, for people to recognize my talent, for people to say, okay, he was, you know, because it's a chain for African players, you know. So I wanted to be in that history book of being an African player that came in and done really well in the Premier League. So, you know, yeah, for me, I was really, I was in a mission, and for me, it was like to put Congo on a map. And like I said, it wasn't easy, you know. And Portsmouth was just a place where I've learned what Sir Bobby was teaching me, and from what I learned from Colchester, from Park. And Harry was amazing. Harry was probably one of the best manager probably I played. Harry gave you 50, and then you got like he's like 50-50. So Harry brought out the football I know, that he let me go in there and just, that's what he used to say, go and win me games. That's what Harry was saying, just go and win me games. Like, he used to tell, like, obviously the Yaks, yeah, he used to tell Yakubu, like, make sure that Lua is okay, like, you know, like, because obviously I wasn't sleeping early, so he used to, like, send Yak, speak to Lua, just to make sure you win me games. Well, Harry was amazing. I love Harry, you know, so nothing but respect for him. So Portsmouth was amazing. Like I said, part of my motivation, part of the things that kept me going also was the fans. The fans gave me an extra energy from Colchester, Newcastle, Portsmouth, Olympiacos, wherever I went. It's the energy of I was getting feed. Is that I was getting strength from that energy of them, like them chanting the name, singing names, and like, it's amazing. Everywhere that I've played, I have a song for every team that I play. The fans always, so that hearing that, even though sometimes you feel like I'm tired or you're stressed at home, game. Now once you hear that, it's like a wake up call for you. It's a trigger that just, you need, come on, man, what's happening? You can't let these people down.
Yeah.
You know, so yeah, it's amazing.
I mean, you've since Portsmouth, you've played in various countries. So you've played in Qatar. You've also played in Europe as well with Olympiacos and in Cyprus. So
Greece, Cyprus, Turkey.
Well. How was all of that different to sort of like playing in England, and what experiences did you gain?
Obviously England, it was quick. Everything was quick, very intensive. Like when you leave England, you go outside. It's like it's so technical now. You build your game, you know. So in England, it's like you go. By the time you come back, the ball's gone again. Channels. So when you go outside, it's not channels. It's like you take time. You know, Ian Holloway, when he was my coach, he was like explaining football to us. And he said to me, you know, like, you know, a woman. When you meet a woman, what do? You chat her up, you start talking to her, and then everything's all good. You know, you start to touch her, and at the end, you want to score. He said, just like football. Obviously, when you pass the ball, you're passing around. Your team is like touching a woman's body. But at the end of the day, you want to score a goal. You know, and so it's... It's at the end of the day, it's all football. I went to different countries, obviously different atmosphere, different way they do things, but it was all about football. On a pitch, one thing I learned from Sir Bobby was like, you're the king of the position that you play. So whenever I went on our pitch, and that's what Harry is also. Harry also is amazing at man-to-man management. So when he was on a pitch, I was better than anyone else, but I wasn't talking it. But I was showing it on the pitch. You're not making me look stupid. You're not taking my place. You know, so that's the mentality I had. So for me, it's like I came, I see, and then I'm taking over. So everywhere that I went, I wanted to be one of the best, if not the best, but one of the best. So I didn't let nothing phase me. I didn't let whoever I'm playing with, whoever, because there was different top players I played with. But for me, it was like, okay, they need to know law. So what got me there is what I was doing. So if they bought me because of what I'm doing, so I need to take it to another level. So yeah, and one thing I was gonna say about you saying that you was calling me, bro. When I was younger, also I used to call Andy Cohen and call him all the time to ask him for advice.
So Lomana, regarding Waltham Cross FC, you know what I'm doing with the town, the team, and what we're trying to develop in the community regarding the youngsters. What's your input on that sort of thing?
You know, this is what I was gonna say. You know, about me inviting, because I didn't finish about you calling me and me responding. It becomes like a chain in it. So it's a chain. It's that what I pass on, the love that I'll show you, you can also pass it on to other people. So that's how you build a chain. I had someone also, when I used to call Andy Coy, he was responding. So I pass on, you call me, I respond. I'm sure there's other people calls you as also, you respond. So you learn only, you know, you learn only what you learn, the love that you get from other people, that's what you pass it on to another. And maybe you might think, okay, what is he trying to say? Because of what I showed you, probably it has played part also of you doing what you're doing now, community work now. You know, I respect nothing but respect, because giving back is always the best for me. I always love a person that give back. You take that time, because not only you're doing it for yourself, but you're also giving those youngsters platform. You're giving whoever coming in platform. You're selling a dream for them. You're giving them, like, they can actually have that motivation. They can have that someone they can look up to. You know, so, you know, respect, and I encourage you to carry on doing. You know, sometimes you don't, it's going to be hard to start with. Like, nothing was meant to be easy anyhow. It always starts hard, but then it gets easier. So it's an ambition that you had, like I said to you before. Chase your dream and go for it, because if it's in your heart, then go for it. At orphanage, I say to God when I do my prayer, I say, please, God, don't take me out on this world. Don't let it be my time without me building that orphanage. And I'm going to build that orphanage. You know, obviously, so you already have your mind of doing that. You set your mind to doing that, to build something. It's a beautiful thing what you're trying to do. And I commend you. I respect. I said, anytime you need me, I'll be there. You're doing something good. You're really doing something good.
Yeah, on that note, Lomana, I'd like to thank you. Hopefully, this has given fans and younger players an insight of how you progressed into football and into the man and the brand that you are today. Also, for me personally, you're my hero. I tell you that for fact. I tell anyone, I've told people that you are my hero. You are inspiration for me.
Thank you.
I inspire myself to be even a third of what you've achieved and you've become during football and outside of football after you've retired. And I wish you all the best on whatever you're going to do. Hopefully, when you come back to England, you'll come and watch Waltham Cross FC. We'd love to have you.
Yes, that's 100%. Definitely we're there.
And see you soon. Hopefully, your son will be playing for us at some point. Hopefully.
Yes. So, yes, hopefully my son will be there. No, thank you for having me. Sorry about with all this I'm in Africa, so sometimes things do happen, but I appreciate that. I'm proud also of you, of who you have become, you know, so, you know, you're doing good things, and I say anything that you do, if you put God first, things will go smooth, you know, And it's all about determination and ambition. Once you have that vision, it all starts with an idea, and then you visualize it, and then you draw it down, whatever, and then you bring it into life. So, and that's what you're doing. You started with your team, and you're gonna bring it back to life. Now, sometimes you come, you see, and then you take over. So, I pray that you take it all the way, which I know you will. And it's a beautiful journey, I'm going through a transition, you're going through a transition. So it's all about knowing, in life, you become stronger once you know your strength. And that's when you take it to another level. So respect. And with all the people that follow us, all the fans, look after yourself. And health is important. And with all these corona things happening, just make sure that you look after yourself, and God bless us all. And Merry Christmas and Happy New Year to everyone.
Thank you, big bro. Speak to you soon.
Bless, man.
That you give it to me and just me only. Girl, you chosen.